Picture this for a moment. You're still you, still thinking clearly, still wanting to live life your way, but one day, someone tells you that because you need a little help, your only option is a nursing home. Your schedule, your meals, your freedom suddenly decided for you. Here's the truth most people never hear. Needing help does not mean giving up your independence. And a nursing home is not the inevitable next step. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you a smarter, healthier way to protect your freedom, your dignity, and your life before someone else may. That decision for you needing help does not mean losing independence, and this is one of the most misunderstood ideas about aging and health. Somewhere along the way, independence got confused with doing everything alone, lifting every burden by yourself, and never asking for support. That definition sets people up for fear and failure, because no human being is designed to live that way forever. True independence has always been about choice, about having a say in how you live your life, how you spend your days, and who you allow into your space. The moment someone needs assistance with daily tasks, society often jumps to the conclusion that control must be taken away, when in reality this is exactly the moment when choice should be protected the most. Asking for help does not erase your strength, your experience, or your identity. It simply acknowledges reality. The body changes, energy shifts, and certain tasks become harder over time, but that does not mean the person inside has become smaller or less capable of making decisions. In fact, accepting the right kind of help often preserves independence rather than destroying it. When someone gets support with cooking, cleaning, or mobility, they free up energy for the things that truly matter, like staying active, socializing, thinking clearly, and enjoying life. Independence thrives when energy is spent on living, not on constant struggle. One of the biggest dangers comes from waiting too long to accept help. People push themselves to exhaustion out of fear that the first step toward support is the last step toward losing control. That fear leads to isolation, accidents, and sudden crises that force decisions to be made by others. When help is introduced gradually and intentionally, it becomes a tool instead of a threat. You choose who helps you when they help you, and what kind of assistance you accept. That choice keeps your voice strong and your dignity intact. Independence also includes the freedom to say no. When support is personalized rather than imposed, you remain the authority over your own life. You decide what your routine looks like, what you eat, when you move, and how you spend your time. Help should adapt to you, not the other way around. This shift in mindset changes everything, because instead of feeling managed, you feel supported. Instead of feeling watched, you feel safe. Instead of feeling like a burden, you feel valued. There is also emotional independence, which is often overlooked. Carrying everything alone creates fear and anxiety that quietly drains mental health. Knowing that support exists allows the nervous system to relax, which improves sleep balance and overall well-being. Strength is not proven by suffering in silence. Strength is proven by making smart choices to protect your future. Accepting help on your own terms is not giving up. It is a powerful act of self-respect, and self-leadership. Nursing homes are often presented as the inevitable next step once living completely alone becomes difficult, but that narrative leaves out a wide range of healthier, more human alternatives. For many people, institutional care is not the best solution, not because help is unnecessary, but because the environment itself can quietly strip away autonomy, routine, and motivation. When daily life becomes scheduled around systems instead of personal rhythms, people often move less, think less, and feel less connected to who they are. This loss of agency can accelerate physical and mental decline in ways that are rarely discussed upfront. One of the biggest problems with nursing homes is that they are designed for efficiency, not individuality. Meals happen at fixed times, activities are generalized, and care is standardized to manage large groups rather than unique lives. Even well-run facilities struggle to preserve personal identity because they are not built around choice. Over time, people adapt by doing less for themselves, not because they cannot, but because it is easier to let the system take over. That gradual surrender of effort can weaken muscles, reduce confidence, and shrink the sense of purpose that keeps people engaged with life. Another issue is emotional disconnection. Being surrounded by others does not guarantee meaningful connection, especially when relationships are formed by circumstance rather than shared values or history. Many residents experience loneliness despite constant proximity to people. Emotional isolation has been shown to impact immunity, cognitive function, and heart health, making it a serious health risk rather than just a quality of life issue. When emotional needs are unmet, the body often follows. Alternatives exist that provide support without sacrificing dignity. Smaller, home-like living arrangements, shared housing, and aging-in-place models allow people to receive help while staying connected to familiar routines and environments. These options encourage participation instead of passivity. When someone remains involved in decisions, daily tasks, and social interaction, their confidence and capability are more likely to be maintained. Support becomes a partnership rather than a takeover. Cost is another factor rarely discussed honestly. Nursing homes are expensive, and that financial pressure can limit choices later on. More flexible care models often allow resources to be allocated where they matter most, such as mobility support, nutrition, and meaningful social engagement. Investing in the right kind of support earlier can delay or completely prevent the need for full-time institutional care. Most importantly, choosing an alternative is not about denial or fear of aging. It is about alignment. It is about creating a living situation that matches your values, your habits, and your definition of a life worth living. Aging does not require surrendering control to a system. It requires adapting with intention, choosing environments that support movement, connection, and purpose, and remembering that care should serve the person, not replace them. Strength, movement, and nutrition are not just about fitness or appearance. They are the foundation of independence at every stage of life. As the body ages, the loss of muscle, balance, and coordination does not happen overnight. It happens gradually through inactivity and undernourishment. This is why so many people lose independence, not because of disease, but because everyday tasks slowly become harder. Standing up, climbing stairs, carrying groceries, or even walking confidently can turn into challenges that limit freedom. The good news is that the body responds to training and nourishment at any age, and small consistent actions can make a profound difference. Functional strength is what allows a person to live on their own terms. It is the strength to rise from a chair without assistance, to steady yourself if you stumble, and to move through your environment without fear. When strength declines, fear often takes its place, and fear leads to less movement. Less movement leads to more weakness, and this cycle can accelerate quickly. Breaking that cycle does not require intense workouts or complex routines. It requires intentional movement that mimics real life. Simple resistance exercises, balance practice, and regular walking can rebuild confidence and capability when done consistently. Movement is also deeply connected to brain health. Physical activity improves blood flow, supports memory, and reduces the risk of cognitive decline. It provides structure to the day and a sense of accomplishment that boosts mood and motivation. When people stop moving, they often stop engaging, and disengagement affects both mental and physical health. Staying active keeps the nervous system alert and adaptable, which is essential for maintaining independence. Nutrition is the partner to movement. Without adequate fuel, the body cannot maintain muscle or recover from activity. Many older adults unknowingly undereat protein, leading to muscle loss that weakens the entire system. Proper nutrition supports strength, balance, immune function, and mental clarity. Eating well is not about restriction or perfection. It is about giving the body what it needs to stay resilient. When meals are nourishing and enjoyable, they also become social opportunities that reinforce connection and routine. What makes strength, movement, and nutrition so powerful is that they expand options. The stronger and more stable a person is, the more choices they have about where and how they live. Physical capability delays the need for external assistance and allows support, when needed, to remain minimal and flexible. This preserves autonomy and confidence. Health is not just about adding years to life, it is about adding life to years. Investing in the body through movement and nourishment is one of the most effective ways to protect independence and maintain control over your future. Planning early creates freedom, while waiting creates crisis. And this truth becomes clear the longer life goes on. Many people avoid planning for future support because it feels uncomfortable or unnecessary in the present moment. There is a belief that acknowledging future needs somehow invites decline, but the opposite is true. Thoughtful planning strengthens independence by keeping decisions in your hands rather than leaving them to chance, stress, or emergencies. When plans are made calmly and intentionally, they reflect values instead of fear. When people delay planning, changes often arrive suddenly through illness, injury, or a fall. In those moments, decisions are rushed and emotional, and options become limited. Families scramble, stress levels rise, and choices are made based on urgency rather than suitability. This is how many people end up in living situations they never wanted, not because it was the best option, but because it was the fastest one available. Crisis-driven decisions rarely honor personal preferences or long-term well-being. Early planning allows for gradual adjustments rather than drastic moves. Small changes, such as modifying the home for safety, arranging part-time assistance, or building a reliable support network, can dramatically extend independence. These steps are far less disruptive than sudden relocation or full-time care. They also allow time to evaluate what works and what does not, making it easier to adapt as needs evolve. Flexibility is preserved when planning happens, before pressure sets in. Conversations are another critical part of planning. Talking openly with family or trusted individuals about expectations, boundaries, and preferences creates clarity and trust. These conversations are not about asking for guarantees or placing responsibility on others, but about sharing values and wishes. When everyone understands what matters most, support becomes collaborative instead of reactive. This reduces guilt, resentment, and confusion during difficult moments. Planning also provides peace of mind. Knowing that there is a plan reduces anxiety and allows people to focus on living fully in the present. The nervous system responds positively to a sense of safety and preparedness, which can improve sleep, decision-making, and overall health. Confidence grows when people know they are prepared, rather than vulnerable to uncertainty. Most importantly, early planning reinforces the idea that aging is not a loss of control but a transition that can be navigated with intention. It allows individuals to design a future that supports dignity, autonomy, and well-being. Freedom comes from preparation, not avoidance, and those who plan ahead give themselves the greatest gift of all, the ability to face change without fear and to continue living life on their own terms. Community and connection are just as essential to health as exercise and nutrition, yet they are often treated as optional or secondary. As people age, social circles tend to shrink due to retirement, relocation, or loss, and without intention, isolation can quietly take over. Loneliness is not just an emotional experience, it is a physiological stressor that affects the entire body. Chronic loneliness has been linked to increased inflammation, weakened immune function, cognitive decline, and higher risk of heart disease. When connection fades, health often follows. Human beings are wired for relationship. Regular interaction stimulates the brain, regulates mood, and reinforces a sense of identity and purpose. Simple conversations, shared laughter, and feeling seen by others create emotional stability that no medication can replace. When people feel connected, they are more likely to move, eat well, and engage in routines that support physical health. Connection acts as a motivator, a safety net, and a source of meaning all at once. Living situations play a major role in determining the quality of connection. Being surrounded by people does not automatically create community. Large institutions often struggle to foster genuine relationships because interactions are brief, transactional, or driven by schedules. Meaningful connection grows in environments where people have choice, shared interests, and the ability to participate at their own pace. Smaller, intentional communities and shared living arrangements tend to encourage deeper bonds because they allow familiarity and trust to develop naturally. Community also supports independence in practical ways. When people know each other, help becomes informal and responsive rather than rigid and imposed. Someone notices changes, offers assistance, or simply checks in. This kind of support prevents small issues from becoming emergencies. It also allows individuals to remain active participants in their own lives rather than passive recipients of care. Feeling needed and valued strengthens self-worth and resilience. Building and maintaining connection requires effort, especially later in life, but it is one of the most powerful investments in long-term well-being. Joining groups, maintaining friendships, and staying engaged in shared activities keeps the mind active and the heart open. Social connection provides structure to daily life and reinforces the feeling that life still has momentum and meaning. At its core, community reminds people that they are not alone in their journey. It offers comfort during uncertainty and joy during ordinary moments. Health is not sustained by the body alone, it is sustained by belonging. When connection is prioritized, independence becomes easier to maintain, resilience becomes stronger, and life continues to feel rich and worth living.